Do you need to sign more clients but keep hearing no after discovery calls? Or maybe you dread those calls altogether because you're worried you'll sound unprepared or worse, unqualified. I'm eliminating both of those issues with my simple discovery call framework. It's only 4 steps, so it's easy to remember for each call, but if you're anything like me and your nerves tend to get the better of you, I have also put it together into a PDF guide so that you can have it handy for your calls. You can grab that in the description below. Step 1 is to set the stage, and there are 3 things that go into setting the stage. Firstly, you want to show some professional courtesy and courtesy for their time by thanking them for their time. I usually just start by saying, hey, thanks so much for making the time for our call today. This is a really simple way to show that you respect their time and to set things off on the right foot. Then you just want to give a quick introduction and overview of who you are, what you do, and who you help. Once you've introduced yourself, it's time to put the ball in their court because you need to get them talking and understand their goals. So after I introduce myself, I'll usually say something like, well, that's me in a nutshell. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about your business and your current goals? That's it. You've thanked them for their time, you have introduced yourself, and you put the ball in their court. Step 2 is to listen and lead. So as the name of this step suggests, firstly, you are going to listen. You're going to let them describe their needs and their goals. And as they are talking, I want you to listen for the exact words that they use to describe the issue that they're facing or the outcome that they're looking for. Because your next job is to then recap what they just said, and whenever you can, work in some of their own language. And I'll explain why in just a second. So for me, I usually end up saying something like, so it sounds like you are looking for social media support to help increase your brand awareness. Is that correct? And notice that I ended on a question because you want them to say yes. And this is the pivotal moment here where that's a bridge to you pitching your services as the solution. Now on the call, this moment happens in just a few seconds, this quick exchange, but I wanted to break it down really quick because there's a few things happening psychologically here that you should be aware of. Firstly, you are practicing active listening, which builds trust. When you repeat someone's concerns back to them, it shows them that you weren't just sitting on the edge of your seat waiting to talk again, you were actively listening to them. Clients think, okay, they're listening and they get me. The second thing you're doing is that you are providing clarity, which reduces the perception of risk. Most businesses hesitate to hire anyone, whether it's an employee or a freelancer, because they're afraid of making the wrong decision and wasting money. By confirming what they're looking for in their own words and positioning your service as a solution to what they are looking for, you are eliminating any ambiguity. They can clearly see the link between the problem and the solution. Mirroring language is also a great way to influence, and it's actually a subtle persuasion technique. Psychologically, people are more likely to agree with a statement that's phrased in the way they would put it. This is called linguistic mirroring, and it's a great way to make them feel like your offer was custom made for their needs. Now let's talk about that part where I asked them if what I just said was correct. When they say yes, this is a micro commitment. Micro commitments help build momentum toward that bigger commitment, that bigger yes of hiring you. Okay, that was kind of a long breakdown, but I wanted to make it really clear why you repeat and confirm what they said. And once they have confirmed that that is correct, that is your chance to show your service as the solution. So you'll give an overview of the service that's relevant to their goals. This step is called show the solution because I like to literally show them by presenting my services in a pitch deck. A pitch deck is just a deck presentation. You can create it in Canva that outlines your services. And for each service, I bullet point list out what is included and include the price, which, pro tip, makes getting to the number part way less scary. You can also include work samples in your pitch deck, which I highly recommend if you are doing any sort of creative service, anything that you can do to, again, show what you have to offer. Now, I think it's really easy to run through your services and they get nervous because you don't quite know what they're thinking. And that's why after presenting a service, you should always ask if they have any questions. In my experience, they always do, and answering those questions is very often a great opportunity to explain why your services are the best solution in more detail. After you have shown them the solution and answered any questions, it's time to close with clarity. Closing a call as a freelancer is not as high pressure as a typical sales call. If you go and look up like sales trainings, especially high ticket stuff, you'll hear these people saying, like, on the call, you have to get the payment, get the contract signed, just get everything taken care of right there. And I'm telling you, it doesn't work. And I know because I've tried it. I think that this doesn't work for freelancers, especially for retainers, which are a long term commitment, because they are a longer term commitment and it's more of a relationship. There's a little bit more of a thought process that goes into it. And when you are a freelancer trying to work with businesses, there's usually these layers of decision making that get made, and they don't happen on one call. You may also have to, touch base with them on another call after your initial discovery call because there might be someone else that has some additional questions. Now, just because you're not tying things up in a neat little bow on the call doesn't mean that you're just going to abruptly end it and leave your clients hanging. You need to lay out the next steps very clearly. So I'm going to tell you what I do in my business. I tell them that I'm going to send over an email recapping the services that we talked about and an estimate. And I'm also going to send over my pitch deck so that they can review it internally and discuss it with anyone else on their team. And then I tell them that when they are ready to get started, I will send over the agreement. So it's very clear to them that I am just waiting for their green light. Now, if you're super awkward like me and you find scripts to be helpful, here's one to help you close your call. Thanks again for your time today. I'll send a recap email with everything we discussed and my pitch deck. You can review the details and share them with your team. And once you're ready to move forward, just send me an email and I'll send over the agreement. If you want a copy of that script and everything I covered in this framework in a handy PDF that you can have for your calls, grab it now at the link down in the description. It walks you through the exact steps so you know exactly what to say, when to say it, and how to close your call with confidence. If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit subscribe because I've got a lot more in store to help you build a stable freelance business.